Okay, thank you. I think you've got my short resume there, but basically, after 30 years teaching at the University of Oklahoma College of Pharmacy and department chair in physical pharmacy and pharmaceutics, and also serving for about 35 years with the USP as a volunteer in establishing drug standards, I've been involved in formulations for most of my career. In 1976 and 1977, we established the International Journal of Pharmaceutical Compounding. So we are currently in our 23rd year of publication in over 80 countries throughout the world. And there's a lot of compounding going on through worldwide. And we're very fortunate to be able to pull together a lot of experience and publications and basically what is going on in countries throughout the world regarding compounding. Now, for this presentation specifically, I had received about a dozen different questions to select a few from to respond to. And actually, Gus and AJ have done an incredible job of addressing a lot of these points, but I'll have just a few more comments to add, and then we'll be more than happy to respond more during the Q&A session. One of the questions that was posed was, what are the common types of questions that we get? And basically, you know, we've already heard from patients what questions are posed, but as a pharmacist, what kind of questions do I get from other pharmacists? Well, basically, there's a big request for formulations. What are the different types of formulations, the different vehicles, the different excipients that can be used? And there's a lot of requests for suggestions for different excipients, especially when a patient may be allergic to a certain excipient. And so that is one of the things that a compounding pharmacist does. There's a lot of questions, as previously mentioned, on stability of drug products, drug preparations that are compounded. We publish a lot in the peer review section of the journal, and these are stability studies that aid in establishing a beyond use date that pharmacists can place on the compounded preparations. Let's see here. Whenever a question is posed, one of the first things that, you know, is generally you're concerned with is what are the allergies of this patient? What can they accept? What will enhance their compliance and make them a better patient for this type of therapy? And so the patient allergies is a big one. And then if we look at the quality, which has already been addressed, but I don't think it's been brought out yet, is that the APIs, the active pharmaceutical ingredients that can be utilized are defined by the Drug Quality and Security Act. And they basically include, first of all, a substance with a monograph in the USPNF, or an ingredient that is a component of an FDA-approved drug product, or an agent that has been approved by the FDA in what is called the bulks list. So, you know, in compounding, we are limited in the actual API that can be compounded. And then the variability comes in the dosage form. And if you look at the relationship of the pharmacist with the physician and the patient, the physician is the individual that makes the decision, the final decision regarding the dose, and the dosage form is generally in combination with the patient and the pharmacist, and then the pharmacist puts together the appropriate compounded medication for the patient to enhance compliance. Let's see. The only other thing I might mention has already been brought up, and that is that so many of the laboratories that are involved with compounding pharmacists are FDA-registered laboratories. Many of them actually do a lot of work for the pharma companies. The FDA registered pharma companies. And so some of these are excellent laboratories. And compounding is actually a fairly well regulated activity, even though you hear all the time that it is unregulated. Technically, it is a lot more regulated than a lot of people are aware of. And that's about everything I think that has not been already covered. And so I will pass it on now to the moderator, and I guess we can open it up for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.